People who criticized him didn't have a clue.
The people who were criticizing him were 55, you know, and they were looking at it through the lens of a 55-year-old or 60-year-old or 70-year-old, where they've seen these mistakes and they've seen all the experience and they've gone through all the experiences of life.
And he never let it get to him. It's a mental toughness. You know, he went on to the next play. He went on to the next game. He went on to the next interview. And it really impressed me at that young age for him to have that sort of maturity and ability to understand what was important and what wasn't. You know, from that day, long ago, I really respected the mental side of how he looked at things.
You land your first job in 2005 as a head coach at just 35, very young. At that time, did you feel like you were ready? Had you had enough bumps and bruises yet?
If I was keeping it real, no. And that's that. Even though we had success, we had a lot of success because we had LeBron James. He was still learning and growing too, but he made my job a lot easier. From off the court to on the court.
Unbelievable.
To his body, to how he take everything, his mind. Ooh.
At 21.
At 21. But I was fortunate, blessed, lucky to be able to have the job at the time and to take bumps and bruises.
Experience is the best teacher.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And which in turn has helped me be a better coach today.
What coaches do is they see what you do, you know, and we defended LeBron well, you know, for a while. When he was in Cleveland, he was just playing basketball. Right. Like, he was just better than everybody. Where I give LeBron a ton of credit, the Cleveland LeBron was so much different than the Miami LeBron. The Cleveland LeBron, we would run plays and he would get food. We could trick him, we could do things. Sometimes his athletic ability and his instincts would figure it out anyway. The Miami LeBron was a student of the game. He was prepared. He's in Miami now, and he's calling our plays out. He's staring over at our bench. I remember the distinct moment sitting next to Thibodeau, and we call a play, and he's calling out our actions.
This guy was looking in your mouth like right there and just calling it, was telling the players exactly what was going to happen on the play that you call.
Dwayne brings it up. When you're drawing a play in a timeout, you know as an opposing coach that one guy can screw things up for you.
It's really hard to figure out what to do with LeBron. He's just seen, and he seems to see and beat everything. It's hard to make him that uncomfortable. It's fun. We got to do it. We got to come up with this stuff on the fly sometimes. And
he's had some of the biggest clutch games in NBA history, yet no one knows it. It's incredible. I think LeBron's going to be one of those guys when he retires in 10 years from now. People are going to say, man, LeBron James was one of the best players ever. And we're going to be back saying, we were trying to tell you that 20 years ago, you're too busy telling them that he wasn't.
He's talent, preparation, toughness, work ethic, all those great qualities that he has. He displays it every single day of his life. And it's something that every player in this league should look at him as the gold standard. You treat every day as a championship potential day, and he does it. There's a lot of players that work hard and prepare like that, but he has the talent and the physical abilities that not a lot of players have. He's one of two players that can play all 5 positions, that could be an all-star at those positions. That's him and Magic, and no other players can do that.
If we just played him at any of the 5 positions from day one of the season all the way to the end, would he, at that time, be the best at that position, regardless? So play him at point the entire season, and he can't play any other position. Would he have been the best point guard in the league? Same as the 2, 3, play the 4, which, we started playing him at the 4, and we started to introduce that. He didn't totally love it, but he got to a point where he embraced that, and he was probably the best 4 in the game in those minutes. I always regret that we never played him at the 5, but if we played him at the 5, he would have probably been the best 5 in the league. It just gives me a hard time, even to this day, that I didn't have the guts to do it, to play him at all 5 positions, and it bothers me to this day.
Bron's first year back to Cleveland, when he came back, I was, 2014. That was my second year coaching in Cleveland. So I didn't know Bron. He came back to Cleveland, and we went through the regular season, and I remember as a coach, I was like, man, this dude don't play hard all the time. I was saying that to myself. I was just like, nah, that's not it. This is what I was saying to myself. The playoffs started. So I had never been around Bron in the playoffs. The playoffs started, bro. After game 3 in the playoffs, I went to him and apologized. I was like, bro, I gotta apologize to you, man, because I was just like, I was clowning you during the regular season because, and he was like, PH, man, he said, I've been in the league for a long time, man. This is how I wrap myself up. I have to go through the regular season and make sure when the playoffs hit, I'm optimal. I'm ready to go at the apex. Bro, that level, that gear that he went through, I was blown away.
You know, when we came here 3 years ago in the first meeting, we weren't fearful of his shot. We were fearful of his power and his penetration and his passing. But now you fear everything.
He's unbelievable, and I think we've played now till May 25th and May 27th the last 2 years. And we started on September 25th, and that's every day, like every day, that you're totally focused on this. And he's gone past that 8 straight times.
To me, that's why what LeBron has done.
Incredible.
It makes no sense. And I think maybe the greatest testament to LeBron is that, 5 years ago, he was one of the top 5 players of all time. And from 5 years ago till now, it seems like he's 10 times better because he's added so much skill to his game. And I get asked all the time about, MJ, LeBron, and it's such a difficult question to ask. All I know is they're the two best players that I've ever witnessed. They're very different, but however you want to rank them, they're right there together.
It's kind of like when I first came in the league back in the 80s as an assistant coach. I get mesmerized watching Michael on the court, and I wasn't much help to Larry Brown. I'm watching Michael, and I do that with LeBron. Now he'll do things, and he'll look over once in a while and smirk, and I'll go, "Geez, whiz," that kind of thing. But it's one of the joys of being able to coach in this league, to be in the presence of people like that, and to be able to watch them play and perform and do the things they do on a consistent basis. So he's been very special to me in those ways.
And while you're going through that grind, there's 4 or 5 other teams that are on the climb that are incredibly motivated, that have been building their teams specifically to beat you, and that can't wait to play you. And you're already exhausted, and now you see these people climbing below you, trying to pull your leg down. You're like, leave me alone. So it's exhausting. So 10 finals appearances for LeBron, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is 9 out of the last 10 years, right? That he will be in the finals. That's insane.
It's ridiculous. And does it at this level, and with the pressure, with the scrutiny, doesn't matter.
Every single day he's gonna come in and get his work in. He's gonna do the right thing. There's no messing around once he gets in between the lines. And it helped us, through those, through the long seasons of just waiting to get to the playoffs.
It's just unbelievable. Our goal going into the series was to make him exert as much energy as humanly possible, and try to be as good as we can on everybody else who are good players. And for the most part, I thought we were pretty good at that. And multiple games now in TD Garden held him under 100. 3 games in the 80s, but he still scored 35. It's a joke.
How many players have that gear, Gil? Yeah. It's very few. I was blown away by it, dog.
Whether he's 50 years old or 25, if you got LeBron, you're supposed to win. And so,
when I coached you for that little bit, I would always go home and tell Mickey, I said, I know a lot of people are who's the greatest and whatever, but LeBron, he's the most complete. He can play every position, he can guard every position.
But along with that, he's brilliant. He's really smart, and he has, I think, incredible leadership qualities because he can communicate really well. His voice is good, his presence is good, and he has a good value structure. He knows right and wrong.
When you think of yourself as a player, how would you describe you?
I kind of describe myself as like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little pair of scissors on there. It's a knife on there. It's a wine opener on there. I've always liked when my little league coach or my high school coach would just call me I'm just a basketball player.
Yeah, that's what
I'm not a point guard. I'm not a shooting guard. I'm not a small forward. I'm a basketball player. Whatever the team needs, you can put me on the floor. You can implement me in there, and I can make it happen. And, you know, being able to, in year 18 of my career when we won the championship, you know, with the Lakers, I started at point guard, led the league in assists.
Yeah.
You know, in Miami, I played all 5 positions for Coach Spo, and we was able to win 2 titles. If I'm on uniform and I'm on the floor, I don't want to be a liability.
And that's why he is so remarkable.